Hello and welcome back, everybody. This is GHS InfoSec. First of all, I want to say thank you to all my recent subscribers, and I also want to say thank you for the feedback on these Memlabs CTF videos. This is going to be another Memlabs CTF video, and we're going to be looking at Lab 3 in this video, which is the Evil's Den. So I'm going to head on over to that page real quick, and we'll go ahead and get started. Alright, so this is Memlabs Lab 3, and in our challenge description it says, a malicious script encrypted a very secret piece of information I had on my system. Can you recover information for me, please? We have two notes. It's composed of only one flag, split into two parts. We'll need the first half of the flag to get the second half. And we'll need this additional tool to solve the challenge, which they're recommending steghide. I already had that installed, but if you're running a Debian-based system, you can use this command here, sudo apt install steghide, to get that steghide installed on your machine. And so the flag format is going to be INCTF and then some leet string. We also are given a download link to the challenge file. I've already got that downloaded, so let's go ahead and hop on over to the terminal and take a look at it. Alright, so I'm in my Memlabs Lab 3 directory here, and if we take a look at the files, I already have the 7-zip archive and I have the .raw file, which is the actual file we're going to be working with. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out just a little bit because I know that sometimes some commands like pslist will not format properly on the screen. It makes it easier to read, so I apologize if this is a little difficult to read, but this is what we're going to have to work with. So let's go ahead and fire up volatility on our memory dump.raw, and then we're going to get the image info for this memory dump and see what we're working with. Just a quick recap, I am using Volatility 2, which is based off of Python 2. For all intents and purposes, Python 2 is nothing that you should worry about using anymore. You should move on to Python 3 if you're learning Python. But for this purpose, this is completely fine. There are some parts of Volatility 2 that I like better than Volatility 3. I'm still not completely familiar with Volatility 3, but it's a great tool too. And at some point, I plan on making some videos with that one as well. But anyway, it looks like we've got our suggested profiles here. And I would say this first one is most likely going to be our image profile. It is the most specific. I don't know if that's necessarily the reason why it would work, but when I was going through these before, I know that typically the ones that are a little more specific about the version and release number are going to be the correct ones. So let's go ahead and get the PS list once we get our profile set equals, paste that in. And we'll do a quick PS list, and we'll see how this formats. All right, very nice. So we have our typical system processes like you would expect to see. We also have a couple of notepad.exes. So I'm going to go ahead and run a CMD line scan and see what type of commands may have been run on the command line to see if there was anything, because if we recall from our challenge description, it says there was a malicious script that encrypted a very secret piece of information. So more than likely, this was something that would have been run via the command line, through some malicious process. So let's take a look and see what we get here. Okay, and right off the bat, the last two things that I see are those notepad.exe processes, PID 3432 and 3736. This one is on the user hello's desktop called evilscript.py, so that's probably what we're looking for. And we also have a vip.txt. So let's go ahead and run a file scan and see if we can dump those files. First, I'm going to run file scan, and I'm just going to output that to filescan.txt. This may take a minute to run, but now we'll have a nice file that we can work with and actually grep for things instead of having to try to catch all the output all at once. And while that's running, I might actually even scroll up and see if there's anything else in here. And at the moment, I don't see anything else jumping out at me. Okay. So I think we're good with what we've got so far. I'm just going to let that run. It looks like it's finished. And quick LSLA, we get our file scan. So we have a vip.txt and evilscript.py. So let's go ahead and see if we can dump those files out. We have the offsets, but we need to, actually I need to do something else real quick. I'm going to grep for evil script.py on file scan. And we have two listings here. This .lnk is usually that's usually associated with a Windows shortcut. So this first file, this one here, this desktop evilscript.py, that's the offset that we want. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that offset, and we're going to dump this file out. We're going to do that with the dump files plugin, and we have to specify a directory. So we'll give a dash capital D. I'm going to say a dot here for this directory, a dash capital Q for the offset, and then we will dump that out. So now we have this evilscript.py, and also we want the vip.txt. So let's get the vip.txt file. And the offset for that is here. We don't have any links to it. It was just directly on the desktop. So let's copy that. And now we will dump this offset. Okay. So now we have our two files here. So let's go ahead and let's see what's in this vip.txt file. And it looks like we have some base64 here. So we're going to take this and we're just going to echo this into base64 tag D. Let me clear the screen. And the thing I love about Linux is you can just pipe stuff into whatever command you want to run and it'll get you something. So we have this strange output here. I'm not exactly sure what that's going to be just yet, but we're going to take a note of it. So let's copy this and we will say vim. Actually, I use nvim, so let's say vim vip dot info, and we would just paste that in there so we have a note of that, and that way we know that we have the output we need there. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this evilscript.py and see what's in here. Okay, so the first thing it's doing is importing sys, and then it's importing string, and then we have this function that's defined called XOR, and it's taking in some string and it's going to join some type of XOR operation for I and S. So it's going to store it in the variable A, and then we're going to return A, and then we're going to encode, and it's actually going to do a base64 encode. So what it looks like is we took some string, which is possibly our flag, and we ran it through some XOR operation, just a quick and dirty XOR, and then we're going to return it and encode it with base64. So that base64 is most likely what was the result of this evil script. So kind of reverse engineering that a little bit, we can take the contents that we got from base64, which is this here, and we can go ahead. The neat thing about XOR, we can actually take that and we can run this same operation on that and get the original string. The way I understand XOR actually works, it's if you take an input of, say, A, and then you XOR it on some value, in this case 3, if it were to give you Z, I don't know that it would give you Z, as just an example. If it gave you Z and you didn't have A, you could take Z and XOR that with the same value, so in this case 3, and it should give you the original text. So A in the example. So let's go ahead and see if we can repurpose this script and make it our own. So let's copy this evilscript.py to decode XOR.py. And now we'll just nvim on this decode XOR.py. Get to the very last line here, and we're going to delete this line because it has some funky stuff in there. And let's see here, we are not going to need this encoder function. So let's go ahead and we'll just comment this out. Okay, and also we're not going to need this down here, so we will do the same thing here. Okie dokie. And let's say instead of return, let's print A. And this looks like it may be using Python 2. So we're going to give it a shot with Python 2. So I believe Python 2 is an alias I have set up, and it is. So we're going to say Python 2. Nah, I need to include the appropriate string. I might still have that on my clipboard. So let's say S equals, let's paste that in there. Yes, I do. Okay. So we'll paste that in there. And now if we say Python 2 decode XOR.py, that didn't work. Okay. So let's see why not. Let's figure this out. Maybe we don't need this join operation here. So I'm just going to get rid of this. Let's see if that works. Okay. It's invalid syntax. Okay, that's right. Python 2 doesn't do it doesn't do list comprehensions that I know of. I could be completely wrong about that. I'm not very good at Python, even though I have some Python videos on my channel. Let's see. So let's say for I and S, and we will tab these lines. And let's see if we can, we actually will need to join A. Print dot join A. Okay, I'm actually messing this up. So let's do this. Let's put the return back in here. We'll return A. We do want to join everything, but we're not going to be able to include this. So A equals, I don't know that I need to do this, but I'm going to set A equal to an empty string. Actually, let's say we'll call it flag, and we're going to initialize it to an empty string. And we're going to say dot join. We don't need to return that. And we'll say flag equals. Okay, so let's give this a shot and see if this works. Okay, but we didn't print the flag, so let's go back here. And we need to print the flag. And actually, all right, sorry, I'm kind of struggling here a little bit with some of this, but we'll get there. Let's do that. And then after we do our function, we're going to print flag. No cigar. Okay, give me a minute to troubleshoot this, and I'll get back with you. Okay, so let's take a look at this again. And instead of initializing this, let's just see if we can print this. And we can get rid of this line here. So now, instead of doing anything funky and storing anything in a variable, we should just be able to print that off the string. So let's give that a shot. Okay, I'm just going to switch to Python 3.
Hey, welcome back. This is GHS InfoSec from the future, and I realized I made an incredibly silly mistake when I was trying to repurpose this Python script. So I just wanted to clarify that real quick. First of all, uh, the greatest mistake was not having any coffee before trying to shoot this video and do any coding or hacking or whatever. Secondly, um, when you define a function, you have to call the function afterwards, and I didn't do that. So that's a failure on my part. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to initialize a new variable called flag, and it's just going to be an empty list. And then instead of printing this here, I'm just going to set a equals to as the original code had it, and then I'm going to say flag dot append a, and then we're going to return flag. This was really bugging me after about 5 minutes after I recorded this video. I realized I'd made this abysmal mistake. And then we're going to print dot join flag, and that should get us what we want. Python 2 decode XOR, and just like that. First try. Look at that. All right, so that's it. I apologize for the interruption. You've already seen how to get the flag, so if you wanted to skip this, that's fine. Totally fine with me. But anyway, let's get back to the video.
And we're going to do it this way. Let's say our encoded, it's not encoded. We've already decoded our string, so we will say decoded equals, and I don't know if I still have that in my clipboard. I do have it in my clipboard. Okay. And now we can just say print. You have to forgive me. I am not familiar with the intricacies of Python 2, and I struggle a little bit with trying to decode some of these things. Let's excuse me, since we're repurposing this code, I for I and S. Okay, so actually we need to do word I X order 3 for I and S. I believe that is correct. And we need another closing bracket. And S is not defined. Oh, no, we want I in decoded. So let's go back up here in decoded, because we didn't use the same variable that the evil script used. So I'm sorry if I confused you, but here's the first half of the flag. Okay, so essentially what we did, once we decoded our VIP.txt and we had that string, this is our decoded string. We're going to take that and we're essentially just running this exact same operation. The variable name that I called it was decoded. They used S because it took in S as a string, but this is definitely good enough for our purposes. So that's the cool thing about XOR. If you ever see XOR in the real world, this is going to be something that you can use to essentially get the initial value that was passed in. So I copied this here, and now we can vim flag.txt. So we have the first half, and let's just paste that in here. So now we can take a look and see what else we got. So we have our file scan. Let's go ahead and do another PS list and see if there was anything in there. We may not find anything of interest, but because I didn't see, it says we need steg hide, which is usually run on images, but I didn't see any images in this PS list. I just want to verify that real quick. I know we had file scan, so let's just grep for, let's look for these things. Okay, so we know we're looking for some type of image file. Like I said, we're using steg hide, so we're going to do a grep with a dash capital E, and we're going to look for JPEG or JPG or PNG. We don't know what the format of the file is, and we have our file dump in file scan. So if we can grep, we can actually save ourselves some time from actually having to sift through all those files, because it's going to be a big file. So we do have quite a few JPEGs, some PNG files, or we have some JPGs and some PNG files. and I forget sometimes that I run tmux, and I have to use the appropriate command to begin looking through all the things. If I just scroll up, it's going to scroll back to my previous command history rather than actually searching through all the stuff that we found. So starting at the top, we have some JPGs and PNGs, but this one here actually has a file name. These are probably just temp files. Yeah, these are temporary internet files. So we have the suspicion1.jpg. So this is the file we're probably looking for. So let's take the offset of this file here, and don't forget to use tmux appropriately, kids, because it might make you look silly on YouTube. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to dump this file. Dump files, -D. I want to dump it here, and I want the offset at this address, and give it in. And it looks like we have our file. We do. So let's go ahead and do steghide info on suspicion1.jpg, and yes, we want to try to get the information, and it doesn't give us anything. Okay, well that's fine. We can we just go ahead and see if we can extract, and we're going to say -sf for steg file, and then we'll give it our file name, and we want a passphrase. Okay, so we need our first half of our flag, and I don't believe I have that pasted in here because I just copied the offset, so I'm going to kill that. Let's cat vip.info. Yep, that's it. Okay, let's get this. No, that's not it. Let's cat flag. It's 6:30 in the morning, so I'm a little bit scatterbrained at the moment, but we got our first half of our flag. So now when we run our steghide extract, we can paste in this and extracted data to secret text. So let's cat out secret text, and this looks like it is the rest of the flag, so 1/2 is not enough. Awesome. All right, so let's vim our flag, and we will call this one complete. So we got our flag, INCTF, 1/2 is not enough. Very cool. All right, so I struggled through that a little bit. Again, I'm not a programmer. I'm not some great hacker or anything, but you know, this kind of stuff is interesting to me. I really appreciate the feedback on these videos. Please comment if you have any other feedback, or if you want to see something else, just let me know. I've got some plans to do the rest of these Memlab CTF videos. I have completed all these challenges, but it's been a while, so you're going to get to watch me struggle through 4, 5, and 6 as well. But I really appreciate all the recent subscriptions. I appreciate the comments and the likes and all that. So if you like this stuff, please like and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And I thank you for watching, and please share this stuff with anyone you think may be interested, and just keep it coming. I really appreciate all the feedback. So appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for watching.